should have been played first, but he plays bishop b8, does Jan Nepomniachtchi, and oh my goodness,
Whoa!
the evaluation bar went all the way up in Ding Liren's favor.
Oh my goodness. What has happened? Bishop to b8, a natural defensive move, but now it is advantage Ding. What is going on here? You just pick up the rook on g6, but then there's hg6. Fabi,
But
can you
knight
throw the line?
g3. There's this knight g3 tactic, like we mentioned in another position. I think it might work here. Bishop g6, pawn takes, and look, Ding looks excited, or at least he looks like he's very concentrated. Is it? H, but I don't know if that works out because knight g3, f g3, f g3, and queen d2 is coming to mind. So what's going on here after queen d2?
Oh my gosh. Well, let's just pause. We all need to breathe. We all need to breathe for a second. Oops, sorry. I keep refreshing the game to the beginning.
We need to go.
We need to start from the very
position.
beginning. But Bishop b8 is played. We saw Ding perk up here, but Jan continues to play too quickly. Like, it's okay to miss things. We keep talking about this. Everyone does it. But this is clearly a critical position, Fabi. You played a world championship match. And I don't want to be overly harsh. I mean, Jan Nepomniachtchi has played a very, very excellent match thus far. But when you have a position that he knew was much better for him, to rush these decisions feels odd to me. Maybe he's getting excited. Maybe he thinks he's just winning. Maybe he wants to put Ding in time trouble. But now it's backfired completely. And it definitely, bishop takes g6, we saw as the first step. It's about finding what happens after hg6. These things are easy to miss, but they're easier to miss when you don't spend the time to calculate.
You know, I'm looking at a little idea. After bishop g6, hg6, I don't know, this could be a terrible blunder. I'm sure the Val bar will hate me. d5?
Okay, moment of truth. You're brilliant.
Oh, it worked.
You're brilliant.
Well done, Fabi.
If you take, there's knight f6. And if knight f3, I think d takes e6. Yeah, this is just winning because the knight escapes, and obviously black was counting on trapping that knight. And if knight f3, I think d takes e6, and then knight captures one of those rooks, and then e takes f7, and it kind of probably starts to fall apart. Yeah, you don't even care about that knight on g1. It's all about like rook f8, rook e8, and that stuff, or queen e8, as you pointed out.
Yikes.
Well, I think rook t8 is actually the way. So not to allow bishop d6.
Oh my god.
And then there's the final option after d5, and it's g takes h5. And here I was hesitating for a second because I thought the response was g takes, but then queen f5 is actually threatening checkmate. So this is not the way to go because the queen h3 is checkmate. But the way to go is actually d takes e6. And you don't care about hg4 because rook g4 is just like attacking everything. And in fact, black is falling apart. It's easy to miss this, but black begins to fall apart because f takes e6. I think maybe now gh5 is a better version, but also rook takes c6 with the threat of rook h6 is coming to mind instead of hg4. Rook e6, gh5 also, but this one is very, very, very scary looking for black because rook h6 could just end the game.
This is a big moment.
Ding needs to calculate. He can find us. This is definitely findable for a player of his caliber.
He's got 25 minutes. He needs to burn the oil right now. He needs to burn the clock a little bit. He needs to calculate this line. The tables have completely turned over the last two moves. And we've been talking about one of Jan's biggest strengths, the ability to play fast, to play confidently, and to make those good moves on the board. But these are exactly the time when the biggest strength that Jan has backfires into a weakness in his game and often brings out the inconsistency. And we saw that with just two moves, b4, giving up that c4 pawn, and the natural looking rook shift to g8, a complete turnaround. Ding Liren, he needs to find this option of picking up the rook. He's definitely looking at that with the move d5. It reminds me of game 6. d5 was the move that got him that point, Robert. d5, bringing that mating attack to the black pieces. Will Ding find this for the second time in this match with this killing blow of the pawn advance?
I think he absolutely will, and I just want to give a shout out to everybody watching. Your enthusiasm is felt. I know you're losing your minds, but you're going to lose your mind even more when we go through what Jan Nepomniachtchi just, I don't even want to call it overlooking. That's how complicated chess is, and engines, they make it look easy because they just go up and down and tell you who in fact is winning. Calculating all of it is nearly impossible. So let's just go back a step here, because after queen took on c4. Rook a8 was a mistake. Queen c6 apparently also a mistake. But after knight f3, we were struggling in this position to figure out okay, rook g8, queen e4. All this is forced. Checkmate is threatened. You have to take away this bishop. And after queen takes, queen d5 check looked very good, but the bar went back towards the center. After queen h4 here, you have this move attacking the h3 pawn. Oh, and a move has been made. It is queen to b7 and a
not a
mistake
good
back.
one,
I will
Robert.
get back to this in a second, but this was a very complicated line. We'll show this later because queen b7 was Ding's choice. He also doesn't find the best move.
Yeah, I have to say these guys are just fried at this point. Like they've stopped calculating. And you know, players they're super strong, but they're strong because they can calculate. They're not strong because they can instantly spot the best move. Nobody can. So yeah, they turned off their desire to calculate, or maybe just their tiredness caught up with them that they don't want to exert that effort. But they're like, it's such a complex position. They're just blitzing, and I have to say, I know that there's no increment, and of course, time trouble is an enemy of all of us. But you still have 25 minutes. Jan has 35 minutes. Look, he's getting ready to move instantly again. I mean, it's not a bullet game. This is pure nerves. That no longer is this about chess. It's just pure nerves at this point. Every move is a mistake, and yeah, we're seeing that just because the players are no longer like Ding is ready to think they're playing like it's literally a 30-second game, not not a world championship where they both have 25 to 35 minutes.
Not only caution has been thrown out a window in this game, but also the accuracy. As we see the bar go up and down, the players keeping the pressure on the clock, but they're just blitzing out moves in such a critical moment. Abby, you were mentioning about fatigue and tiredness setting in, the inability to perhaps sit down and calculate at this point. But I have to say, this is the World Championship. This is the biggest stage. It decides the best player in the world. This is what we expect from the world number 2 and the world number 3 to figure out. But it clearly shows the aspects of the match, the psychological pressure that is on, the fatigue that sets in, the emotional and the physical toll that it has taken on these two players. Now we are currently on move 30, and we see that Ding has made the choice with the move bishop e4. He still has 10 moves to make to meet time controls. The player has 2 hours to reach 40 moves. And then after that, an additional 60-minute gets added on the clock. We often see that it is the time scrambles reaching towards move 40 that often decide the game. And it looks like this one is going to be about that. There is no increment from the start of the game. It's only after move 60 that the players get a 30